Young, HIV positive and out to change the world. That's what we're talking about on Plus Talk today, where we're all about turning positive into a plus. My guest is a young lady from Ukraine who is doing just that. Yana Panfilova, good to see you.
Thank you so much and good to see you. Thank you for inviting me.
You are a joy of a human being. And when I think about your story and what you've been through, I'm amazed that you are the positive person that you are. You were born with HIV in Ukraine. At the age of 10, you discovered your status. What do you remember most about that time in your life?
So I think it was really tough when I known that I'm a HIV positive person because my mother told me, and I was crying, to be honest. And I immediately thought that I would die, and at that age, the children every time faced about the death and think about the death. So I was scared, and I didn't take any pills. So and that time I had AIDS. So then I decided, sorry, my mother decided to give me the pills, RT therapy, life-saving treatment. So and then I tried to ignore everything about my HIV status because it was really hard. And the next day when I known about my HIV status, I met my friend and I told her like I'm a HIV positive person. Before that situation, my mother told me like, please don't say anyone, because the huge stigma, the huge discrimination you could face, because my friend, she is HIV positive person. And that time, the same time when I know about my HIV status, she was beaten by her like classmates because she has HIV. But I ignored this recommendation of my mother, and the next day I met my friend and my best friend, and I told her like I'm HIV positive, and she immediately cried. And we were in the kitchen, and she gave me some some stigmatized things. So my immediate reaction was, okay, this is the joke. I was trying to check you, like what's the attitudes for HIV positive people, because my mother worked and this organization and HIV, like the special organization who works with HIV in Eastern Europe, Central Asia. Of course, she understand that it was not a joke, and she told her mother. And I got back to my home, and I told my mother like I told my friend that I HIV positive, and she told me like, okay, maybe we need to change school. But I was lucky, to be honest. I was so lucky because her mother was so awareness about HIV. So, and when they had some meeting with the other parents, her mother like went to my mother and just like, I support you. I know about your status. So I was lucky, like, so I think but after that I understand that, okay, I don't want to tell anyone that I'm a person.
Tell me about some of the experiences you faced, not just from that particular friend, but teachers as well that were stigmatizing. And how did you cope with that at such a young age?
We had the special subject in the schools about the health, and every time the teachers taught something very stigmatized, discrimination, things about HIV positive, the main thing that they delivered to a whole my class, that the HIV positive people, also the drug user, sex worker, and the people who are just more marginalized. But not so. So if you're not drug user, if you're not sex worker or MSM, like men who have sex with men, you probably don't have HIV. So, and I was sitting there and I'm just like, okay, but my whole life I changed the fourth school. So I experienced a lot of like interesting things from school teachers. So when I was like maybe 16 years old, I was sitting in the class and my biological teacher told that HIV positive people just can live like HIV exists 20 days in the air. I was shocked, to be honest. I was so shocked, and I went to her and asked her like, where you got this information, because the false information. This is misinformation. And she told like, I watched documentary French movie. So like, I was and the different school, very very good school, like very like for the very rich people of their children. The other biological teacher, she delivered very nice about HIV, but then she told like, I would recommend to not meet the HIV positive people. And I was sitting that, like in the class.
So what does that do to you as a young person when you hear this constantly? How do you process and cope with that?
So that time I was not living openly with HIV, and I was extremely felt like an anxiety, to be honest, and I was like overwhelming, to be honest, like, and I didn't tell anyone, like, so I had a lot of emotions about what they said, but at the same time I cannot protect myself or protect HIV actually, and tell anybody like, okay, this is misinformation. So this is so this is the false information, and maybe we need to make some, maybe we need to meet each other in the court, like, because you're a teacher, so you delivered it's very important. So yeah, so I tried to ignore this, and I didn't tell anyone. But when I was 16, I understand that I feel a lot of fears about HIV. And the one day I think like HIV was bigger than me, than my personality, and it's not good. Like it's not that way that I would like to feel, So and then I decided, okay, I would like to open my status, because I don't want to. Yes, I know you.
I know where you're going with this. You launched a bit of a social experiment in your mid-teens, and I was going to ask you about what that experiment was, and what you learned from that experiment, and then how that still affects you and how you apply it to yourself today.
So that was the first experience, and I stand in the center of the Kiev with a special label, and like, I have HIV, please give a hug. And so many people hug me, and so many people support me, and I was shocked that people think, because every time you thought, because your grandmother or other people told you like HIV is a big problem, it could be discrimination. But that day I totally understand the people very supportive, people very open, and people want to share with you the very nice things. So yeah, so I was to be honest, I'm so happy, because I remembered that day, and it gave me a lot of hopes. It gave me like a lot of lights.
It takes an enormous amount of courage, especially when you're, that age that you were in your mid-teens, let alone someone who's my age at, 44. HIV's always been a part of your life. You were born with it, so you're no stranger to the stigma associated with it. How have you managed that stigma, both internally, the internalized stigma, and the external stigma, Yana?
I want to feel like free, because my first tattoo, like here, I want to break free. This is the symbolize of Freddie Mercury, and it was my first tattoo, and I think like I want to break free. I want to break free of HIV. I want to think that HIV is a part of my life, but not the bigger of my life. So that's why I make the post on my social media, and describe it my HIV status, and after that I went to my school, and I expected to see, I mean, like, I'm ready to have any reactions from my friends from school, but one thing I understand, that they didn't see that post. So I think the stigma is very, 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 very high inside in our mind. The first thing, we should work with our mindset. What I would say about the stigma, because I think the stigma inside is much bigger than any discrimination, than anything. So, and when I was 16, I totally understand that this is the problem of my mindset. This is the problem. So if I focused to face any discrimination, I would face, like, or but that time I decided to be brave, and I decided to fight and to share the people that HIV positive people is normal, because we have like undetectable, untransmissible. So I have the pills, but the school teacher provides so many false information. So, and I would like to share my personal story for all Ukrainians, not only Ukrainians, but for all people who live in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and to share and to show that, guys, HIV positive people, the normal people, they're really exciting people.
We will have more of this fascinating conversation with Yana next week on Plus Talk. Be sure to join us then. Remember, you can like, follow, share. We're on all of your favorite socials at Plus Life Media. Until next week, for part 2 of my conversation with Yana, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.